What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Poke Office. My name is Colin. Over the last week or so, I've been conducting polls on the YouTube channel to figure out the best artwork out of 2023 Pokemon cards. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to go through the whole process. I had big dreams about how this video was going to be like a matchup and like all the graphics and stuff, and then I realized that I suck at editing. So it's not going to be anything fancy, but we're going to go through the process, going to go through all the rounds. I kind of did it like a little bit of a tennis bracket, if you're familiar with that, but we'll go through that and take a look at how we came to the best artwork out of Pokemon cards in 2023. My favorite card didn't win, but it came awfully close. So let's get into it. Before we do that, I got a giveaway going on this week, so if you want to be entered in to win a Scarlet and Violet 151 Ultra Premium Collection for the third time. This is the third time I'm offering this because we're getting ever so close to 7,000 subscribers. That's going to be the giveaway, so make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed with bell notifications on. That's what's going to be giving away. I'll come up with a date shortly here. So keep watching. Keep watching all the videos. Make sure to do all the stuff. Let's get into it here. So right off the bat, I just listed out every set that's come out. So there's been 6 sets out in 2023. Started with Crown Zenith. Then we got Scarlet and Violet base set, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, 151, Paradox Rift. And then I also put just like a dealer's choice where I could put a couple extras / promos, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I picked my top 4 favorite cards. So there was a little bit of bias because it was my favorite cards out of each set, and that's what happened. Here's the list. So Crown Zenith, we had Mewtwo, Glaceon, Suicune, and Luminion. These are all in order, by the way. So Mewtwo is my favorite card. Luminion is my 4th favorite card. Scarlet and Violet base, we had Gardevoir, Miriam, Slowpoke, Sandile, Paldea Evolved, Magikarp, Tyranitar, Iono, and Grusha. Obsidian Flames, Ninetales, Cleffa, Charizard Special Illustration Rare in the Gloom. 151, we had Zapdos, Blastoise, Charizard, and Alakazam, all the Special Illustration Rares. There was a ton to pick from in 151. Paradox Rift, we had Tapu Koko, Roaring Moon, Groudon, and Iron Valiant Special Illustration Rare. And then for Dealer's Choice, we had that Gray Felt Hat Pikachu, which is a pretty cool card. The Pikachu promo, that's out of Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer Box. The Charmander promo out of the Obsidian Flame Elite Trainer Box, and then a Loud Red from Paradox Rift, an illustration rare, which I think is just really, really cool. I pulled it a few weeks ago, and it's really awesome. Okay, so here's what I did. I found an online thing with a bracket creator, and I figured out that I needed 24 Pokemon cards to do this little bracket in the time period that we had, and I had 28 Pokemon to deal with. So I took my least favorite, so to speak, the number 4 out of each column from each set, and I put them into 2 mini polls on YouTube. So here's the first one. Trying to narrow it down. So the top 2 were going to advance into the actual bracket. So it was out of Gloom, Grusha, Sandile, and Luminion, and pretty close actually, but Gloom and Luminion were the 2 that moved on. Gloom had 38% of the vote. Luminion had 30% of the vote. Grusha, which honestly is really, really cool artwork, just finished outside at 25%. The second one was out of Alakazam Special Illustration Rare, Iron Valiant, and Loud Red. So the 2 that moved on were Alakazam and Iron Valiant, though this one wasn't even close. The Alakazam was the clear leader. So that leaves us with 24 Pokemon. The bracket needed 24 Pokemon. There's going to be 8 Pokemon in this bracket that get a bye in the first round. So I had to come up with some sort of ranking system myself to place these Pokemon cards into the bracket. Here's what I came up with. Somehow I managed to put all of these into a list. And so here is my list from top to bottom. And I mean, I could probably change my mind on any day of the week, but I knew the top I probably knew the top 8 cards I was pretty confident that these were the ones that deserved to have a bye into that next round. So here's the list. Magikarp, Zapdos, Mewtwo, Blastoise, Gray Felt Hat Pikachu, Ninetales, Tapu Koko, Glaceon, Tyranitar, Roaring Moon. I won't read the rest of them, but those were the ones. So here, onto the bracket, we're going to see now. So out of that list, I placed all of these Pokemon into the bracket. The second row in on both sides is where you're going to find the Pokemon that had a bye into the first or a bye for the first round. But we had to start on the outside, so here's what we did. For the rest of the time, we started on December 19th, and I was doing 4 pulls a day, trying to figure out what the best artwork of 2023 was. Here we go. Starting off, we had our first matchup, Suicune from Crown Zenith versus Charizard from Obsidian Flames. 601 votes it got, and it was pretty much a landslide for Suicune, 73% of the votes. Next, we had Groudon from Paradox Rift up against Slowpoke from Scarlet and Violet base set. So 2 illustration rares. They weren't the special illustration rare variant. 697 votes, and Groudon was the clear winner at 82% market share. Then we had a battle for the ages, Charmander versus the Charizard special illustration rare. Quite close, actually, and 826 votes, so people were into this one. The Charizard slightly taking it at 54%, which is not a crazy variance there, but the Charizard special illustration rare from 151 took the cake on that one. Next, we're moving into the last poll for the first day, and we had Iono from Paldea Evolved versus Miriam. So 2 of the special illustration rare supporter cards from Scarlet and Violet base and Paldea Evolved, respectively. Iono took it. This one had a little bit, I remember reading some of the comments, and some people are like, I don't know why Iono is so popular. She's weird. She's got the pointy teeth. It's just, I don't get it. But lots of people like it. 724 votes, and Iono took 68% of them. All right. So then we move on to the second day of voting. This is still in the first round. And we had Tyranitar versus Iron Valiant. Tyranitar, the illustration rare, heavily beat out the special illustration rare Iron Valiant, 74% out of 842 votes. So this thing was getting popular. Next, we had Roaring Moon from Paradox Rift versus Luminion from Crown Zenith. And Luminion, I thought, might have a chance, but definitely didn't. 67% for Roaring Moon out of 686 votes, so Roaring Moon was moving on to the next round. Then another spicy one. We had Cleffa versus Gloom, both from Obsidian Flames. Lots of the comments were talking about how, I don't know how people are voting against Gloom, but Cleffa is just such a gorgeous piece of art. Got 67% of the votes out of 799 votes, and doing all right. Okay, last one for day 2. We had Gardevoir from Scarlet and Violet base set versus Alakazam from 151. Let me tell you something. Scarlet and Violet 151, not only is it a super popular set, some people were saying it's mid, but the votes are clearly not saying it's mid. Scarlet and Violet 151 for artwork performed very, very well in this bracket. Alakazam took 69% of 842 votes, leading it into the next round. So that got us through. Now we're left with some matchups for round number 2 out of this bracket. So starting off, we had Iono from Paldea Evolved versus Pikachu with Gray Felt Hat promo card, a card we hadn't seen yet before because it got a bye into round number 2. And a pretty close vote overall. Pikachu with Gray Felt Hat narrowly edging out a victory at 56% out of 610 votes. Moving on, we have 2 of my favorite cards out of Crown Zenith, Glaceon versus Suicune, and 1,000 votes, and Suicune got 63% of them. So clearly people like Suicune. I personally like the Glaceon better, but it wasn't my vote that counted. So Suicune moving on to the next round. Then we had one of the biggest landslides out of the entire bracket. We had Groudon versus Tapu Koko. I thought Tapu Koko was going to pull a punch just because it's a really, really unique and cool artwork, but clearly not. Groudon taking 82% of 742 votes. Kind of crazy. All right, then we had Scarlet and Violet 151, the Charizard Special Illustration Rare, defeating Ninetales, and lots of people. This one, the Charizard from 151 caused a lot of uproar in the comments. Lots of people saying it's mid. Lots of people saying that the Charizard only takes up like 10% of the card's artwork. So people were like kind of conspiracy theory-ish about were people actually voting based on their artwork, or were they voting on value, or were they... But who knows? I was tried to be very clear in the instructions by putting best Pokemon artwork of 2023 in every poll, but you never know. Charizard 151 takes the cake on this one, 61% of the votes out of 893. Then we have Blastoise from 151 versus Cleffa from Obsidian Flames. Blastoise, again, the 151 cards performing very, very well. Blastoise getting 66% of the votes, 725 votes on that poll. All right, here's a big one. Two of my favorite cards out of 2023, actually. We have Tyranitar versus Magikarp, Paldea Evolved, both of them. And Magikarp clearly was victorious here, 75% of the votes, 868 votes on that poll. Then we have Zapdos 151 versus Roaring Moon from Paradox Rift, and Zapdos crushing it with 73% out of 898 votes. Wow. All right. Finally, we're moving on to the last, I guess this is the third round, the last result out of the third round. We have Alakazam up against the Mewtwo from Crown Zenith, and Mewtwo narrowly edging it out at 55%, 929 votes on this one. So not a huge margin of error, but doing quite well. So that brings us into the quarterfinals, meaning there is eight cards left. And let's just get right into it. First, we have Blastoise from 151 versus the Gray Felt Hat Pikachu. Blastoise is victorious at 58% of the votes, 878 votes on that one. Then we had Magikarp from Paldea Evolved versus Suicune from Crown Zenith. Magikarp easily winning this one, 1,000 votes on this one, so people were coming in strong for Magikarp, 66% of the votes. Then we had Zapdos 151 versus Groudon. Zapdos clearly winning this one as well, 67% of the votes, 958 votes on that one. And then the big one, the last round out of the quarterfinals, we had Charizard from SV151 versus Mewtwo from Crown Zenith. And we get Mewtwo narrowly edging out the Zard at 54% of the votes. 1.1 thousand votes on that one. That might be I think that's the biggest turnout for a vote for Mewtwo versus Charizard. Pretty cool, honestly. Charizard actually representing in both of those cards, which is kind of fun. All right, then we're on to the semifinals. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. So we have two rounds. We got Magikarp versus Blastoise, and we have Zapdos versus Mewtwo. Let me know down in the comments, were you taking part in this vote? Did you enjoy this? Definitely something that I'm kind of planning on doing into 2024 as well, like lots of these poll things. Thought it was really fun and brought out some really good community engagement, which was a lot of fun. So the first matchup out of the semifinals, we had Magikarp narrowly defeating Blastoise from SV151, 60% to 40% out of 1,000 votes. So I guess it wasn't that narrow, but not a crazy big change in results. And funny enough, Zapdos versus Mewtwo had the exact same results out of almost the same amount of votes, 60% to 40%. So that leads us to the finale, which is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved and the Zapdos from Scarlet and Violet 151. Now, remember back to my original list, and I had Magikarp, Zapdos, Mewtwo, Blastoise. Hot diggity, do I know my stuff? Clearly, I was just reading people's minds. I'm just joking. But obviously, those are like lots of people's favorite artworks, and for good reason, because they're pretty amazing. Leading us to the final round for the best Pokemon artwork of 2023, and Zapdos winning it all at 55% of the vote. 866 votes total for this final vote, which happened on Christmas Day. Zapdos 151, 55%. Magikarp got 45% of the votes. Really mixed in the comments from what I was seeing. Lots of people loved the Zapdos. No one has anything bad to say about the Zapdos. A few people thought that the Magikarp shouldn't have been that high. I completely disagree. I think there's so much story to be told in that Magikarp card and so much detail, plus that Gyarados in the top right makes it so much cooler. So overall, like I was saying, this poll and this bracket was a lot of fun. I had a great time putting it together. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if the right card won, or if you thought the Magikarp could have won. I definitely thought the Magikarp was going to be the winner, but whatever. I mean, it was a lot of fun seeing all of the results. And if you want me to do more polls like this, then definitely hit me up in the comments and some ideas. I'm always open to ideas about doing that kind of stuff as well. Now, we always open on my main videos some Pokemon cards, so I mean, we may as well try and pull that Zapdos one more time. I've already pulled it, but it wouldn't hurt to have it again. So I'll see you on the flip side, trying to open up that Zapdos from 151 with 10 packs. All right, it's always a treat to open up some 151. I have yet to get bored of this set. Super fun results from the polls. I really thought that that the Magikarp was going to take it, so that was a little surprising. But overall, like, I thought that the polls were quite well done, to be honest with you. Ooh, Zapdos, not the one we're looking for, but still, maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign. Yeah, I threw a few like kind of outliers in there. So I really like that Loud Red card from Paradox Rift. There's a couple really cool ones that I was kind of wrestling with to see what I should put in the poll. Carp. But I mean, there's something to be said. Like, yeah, it was a little bit. I mean, people maybe were voting on the value of cards because there was a lot of the more valuable cards on there and like the special illustration rares. But in my opinion, like, the reason they're valuable is because people like them. Like, that's part of what makes them so cool, is because it is really cool artwork. Like, I personally love the Charizard from 151, and I love the Blastoise from 151, which I pulled recently, which was a lot of fun. And the Zapdos, probably my favorite artwork out of 151. The Magikarp is just an illustration rare, but there's a reason why it's quite expensive and quite valuable, because it's such a cool card. So, I mean, it almost seems to go hand in hand that we're talking about artwork, but we're also talking about value as well, because they're just so cool. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the process. It was a little bit of work to put together, but I really thoroughly enjoyed looking at the results. And I was voting as well. Got a Hollow Leaf Energy. Oh, I mean, most of them got like close to 1,000 votes, so that's pretty sweet. And it's not like my one vote was going to change anything. So, and there actually wasn't like a ton of really close ones. Like the final round, 55% for Zapdos and 45% for Magikarp was about as close as it got, I think. So, I mean, it wasn't like we were talking about a card winning by 2 or 3 votes. We're talking about like 50 to 100 votes difference. So there was clear winners in all the polls, which is probably a good thing, because didn't want to have some sort of hiccup or like, I mean, there's been a few votes coming in late. So like, if you remember seeing the polls at an earlier time, maybe there wasn't quite as many, or maybe the percentages changed a little bit. I didn't take them down from YouTube, so they might have changed a little bit, but overall, none of the results changed. I definitely had written them down. So, man, these 10 packs are not doing very good of 151. But if you remember, my last 151 opening, I did get that double Blastoise pack, which was absolutely insane. The Blastoise Special Illustration Rare followed directly by the Blastoise Ultra Rare. It was one of the best packs I've opened in quite a long time. It was really, really fun. There it is again, the Blastoise Ultra Rare. Okay. My goodness. Blastoise just rocking out. Blastoise doesn't get the respect he deserves, honestly. I mean, especially that Special Illustration Rare. I thought that could be a little bit of a sleeper, honestly, in this poll. It's just so good. And if you haven't seen it in person yet, the picture doesn't do it justice. There's something about that Blastoise Special Illustration Rare that is just something else. It's something really special, honestly. Alright. last pack. Yeah, let me know all your thoughts. Was there any cards that I should have included in there that I didn't? Do you agree with the results? I know lots of you voted for the Magikarp as well, so that would have been one that you maybe disagreed with. But here's the last chances. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Only 2 hits. But the Blastoise is actually a pretty nice one. Blastoise Ultra Rare, followed by the Zapdos EX. Once again, thank you all so much for participating in the polls, watching the video. Appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, leave a comment to be entered to win that Scarlet and Violet 151 Ultra Premium Collection, which I'm going to be giving away in about a couple weeks for my 7,000 subscriber giveaway. It's all because of you guys. Thank you all so much. It really means the world to me. And until my next video, peace!